Thank you for not leaving. You have no idea what it means that you opened this, that your weary hands, trembling from invisible battles, chose to stop here. I know you're tired of working so hard, tired of waiting for a miracle that never seems to land in your hands. And yet you're here. You pressed play on a voice that heaven has been aching to deliver to you. I've been waiting, pacing between clouds and prayers, watching you press on when no one noticed. The moment you opened this, a sealed scroll unfolded in the unseen. That is why I'm asking you not to look away, not yet. There's something hidden at the end, numbers of destiny, blessings encoded in light, a pattern that can only be revealed once your heart has softened enough to receive it. If you leave, that revelation will close itself again, like a blossom folding before dawn. Stay. Breathe. Let me speak to you. I am the one who has followed you through every season, unseen but near, whispering when the world went silent. You've been laboring beneath an invisible sun, building towers of hope on soil that seemed to reject every seed you planted. You've been mocked for dreaming, accused of naivety for believing that heaven could still touch earth. And yet you never stopped. You've held on to faith like a candle in a storm, and heaven noticed. I've come because a decree has been written in your favor. A shift is waiting, one that doesn't arrive through logic or labor but through surrender. You think I come to scold, but I come to lift. I come to remind you of something forgotten. You were never meant to survive by toil alone. There was always a secret flow prepared for you, a river of provision, and now it's time to find it. There's a war you can't see, child. It rages behind your weariness. Every moment you choose to hope, light pierces another veil. Hidden spiritual warfare has surrounded your finances, your peace, your confidence. The adversary isn't after your possessions, he's after your belief. Because if he can convince you that heaven has abandoned you, you'll stop listening for the whisper that carries your release. Don't you feel it? That ache in your chest when you almost give up? That's not emptiness. That's your calling remembering itself. There's a throne that still speaks your name, a record that still bears your signature written in divine ink. I need to ask you something. Will you let yourself be loved? Will you let heaven's hand write a different story than the one fear told you? You have fought so long that victory feels foreign, but even now, grace is bending low. Seek first the kingdom, the voice once said, and all these things will be added. You've been seeking the answer. Today I'm showing you the kingdom in you. You've been chasing numbers, formulas, doors, but the miracle was never in the code. It was in your consent to believe that you're still chosen. You see, the promise of overflow isn't bribery, it's remembrance. The lottery numbers are symbols, alignments of heaven's pattern and your obedience. They represent the sequence of trust, rest, surrender, gratitude, faith, generosity, joy, and love. When these align, abundance can find you overnight, not because you earned it, but because you finally allowed it. I'm begging you, stop striving. Receive. For even the lilies do not toil, and yet your Father clothes them in splendor. Why then do you fear that he would forget you? Tell me, beloved, when was the last time you felt safe enough to stop pretending you're strong? When did you last let yourself cry, not from despair but from holy release? The heavens groan when you numb yourself, for every tear you bury becomes a seed unwatered. Today let me water them. Let the rain of mercy touch those places that have been hard for too long. Don't harden your heart now, softness is your key. The scroll in my hand holds a miracle time for this very moment, and its seal breaks only when your soul exhales. Do you remember the dream you buried when the bills came due? Do you remember the song you stopped singing because the world laughed? That dream was not childish, it was divine. It was planted before your first breath. It carried your signature purpose. You were never meant to be ordinary, you were meant to be radiant, a signpost of impossible grace. But the path of the chosen cuts deep. The crown you carry is heavy because it's forged in intercession and midnight prayers. You wonder why your joy is often mingled with sorrow. It's because heaven trusts you to carry both, to be the bridge between mourning and dancing. I see you waking at night, whispering, "What if I fail again?" Hear me, you haven't failed, you've been forged. Every closed door was a classroom. Every delay was a refining fire. The lottery you think you missed was only heaven rearranging the order, waiting for you to step into alignment so the numbers of destiny could match your frequency of faith. Tonight, the equation changes. Tonight, grace multiplies where effort once divided. There is still time, but not much. This window is narrow, sacred, and precise. For such a time as this, the word echoes, "You have been brought here." Don't mistake weariness for weakness. It's simply the residue of warfare. You have fought principalities of doubt and shadows of scarcity. But the lion walks with you now, and even your sigh is a weapon. Breathe, child. Every breath you take in trust is a sword drawn in the spirit. Will you trust that what is coming no longer requires your striving? Will you believe that the miracle isn't delayed, but arriving exactly on cue? The heavens have aligned like a clock striking divine midnight. The next chapter of your story begins when you stop rehearsing the last one. I know it's terrifying to hope again, but hope is not naive, it's prophetic. The treasury of heaven is open, not because you demanded it, but because you endured. The gold waiting for you isn't cold metal, it's living favor. It will find you through unexpected kindness, through doors you didn't knock on, through people who whisper your name in rooms you've never entered. Pressed down, shaken together, running over, the voice of promise breathes even now. If you can still believe in love, you are already rich. If you can still forgive those who misunderstood your heart, you are already victorious. Wealth without wisdom destroys, but heaven is gifting you both. Soon you'll look back and realize every wilderness prepared you for gardens you couldn't have planted alone. Let me ask you this, can you feel the warmth building behind your ribs? That quiet stirring as if a sunrise is about to break within you? That's not imagination. That's your destiny waking up. The angels have gathered, their wings forming a canopy around your fragile hope. Even now, light is touching the places that were too wounded to dream. Don't run. Stay. Receive. Type Amen if your heart whispers yes, if you dare to agree with heaven's unfolding. Let that word be your seal of consent, your key of faith. And if this river has touched you, if you feel the tremor of something holy in your chest, then pause, lift your eyes, breathe gratitude into the air, and like this message as a testimony. Leave a comment like a candle on an altar, not for me but as a sign to the unseen that you are still here, still believing. Beloved, thank you for staying this long. Thank you for letting me speak into the noise. You have no idea what your endurance means to heaven. The battle has been fierce, the night's long, but dawn is closer than you think. Soon, laughter will find its way back to your mouth, not forced but flowing. And when the numbers align, when grace and timing kiss, you'll remember this moment, this whisper, this trembling promise. Go gently now, but don't go far. The revelation is not leaving, it's unfolding. Somewhere in the unseen, a unicorn waits, not a creature of fantasy, but a symbol of purity, rare and radiant, holding the keys of impossible provision. Its hooves stand upon promises unbroken, its eyes reflecting every tear you've ever shed. It knows your name, it knows your fight, and it will not give your blessing to someone else, not if you dare to receive it. So let the world keep its noise. Let fear keep its bargains. You child of morning, lift your head. The scroll is opening. The numbers are forming. The dawn is yours. And all of heaven watches, trembling as you take the next breath in faith. I bless you in the quiet, in the mystery, in the unfolding light. And though I step back into the hidden, my voice lingers, soft as mercy, strong as fire, whispering one last time, "You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. Beloved one, you stayed. You didn't walk away when the light began to tremble. You didn't silence the voice when it pressed gently against the edges of your exhaustion. That single choice, to remain, has altered the atmosphere around you. Even now, threads of gold are being woven into the fabric of your path. Stay with me a little longer because the next words are a door, and once you pass through, you will not be the same. I must speak them while your heart is still open, while faith still flickers within you like the flame that refuses to die, no matter how fierce the wind. There are things that heaven kept hidden until this hour, things you could not have carried in earlier seasons. You have wondered why the promises were delayed, why the answers took the long road to reach you. The truth is gentle. Your roots needed depth before the weight of blessing could safely rest upon them. Every prayer you thought unheard was not ignored but stored, like rain held in a quiet sky, waiting for the moment the earth could drink without drowning. Now that moment is here. Grace is descending, mercy is blooming. This is not poetry, it's prophecy written on the pulse of your life. There is an ache inside you, isn't there? A tension between wanting to rest and fearing to hope again. It's all right. I know. I have seen the nights when you pressed your hands against your face so no one would see you cry. I was beside you then, collecting the sound of your breath as though it were incense. The war around you has been fierce, not just in what you see but in realms beyond sight. Every time you chose compassion over bitterness, a blade of light was forged. Every time you forgave, even when you shook with pain, a fortress was raised around your spirit. You are not empty, you are armored in love. Hear me, you were never designed to survive on struggle alone. Heaven's economy is not built on exhaustion but on trust. The miracle forming for you is not payment for toil but fruit from faith. It will look sudden to others, but you will know it was cultivated in secret. The shift that approaches carries the scent of restoration. You will find lost things returning, but changed, sanctified by absence. The relationships meant for you will recognize you now, because you finally mirror the light they were shaped to meet. The resources withheld will flow, because your heart has learned generosity in scarcity. Before we go further, let me make a single request, sacred and simple. If these words find you, if they steady something fragile within you, pause, breathe, and subscribe. Not out of obligation but as an act of agreement, a small yes that says, I choose to stay connected to what reminds me of heaven. Do it once and let it stand as a memorial stone. After this, we will not speak of it again. The rest will be pure prophecy, untouched by any mention of such things. Now listen, child of promise. The numbers you seek, the sequence of abundance and ease, do not merely dwell on paper or screens. They are inscribed within your daily acts of faith. Each time you awaken and choose gratitude before complaint, the first digit shines. Each time you extend kindness to one who cannot repay, another figure locks into place. Each act of courage, each moment of surrender, each whispered prayer when no answer seems near, they form the code of destiny. When the pattern completes, heaven will translate it into visible blessing. This is not a bargain, it's the language of alignment. Do you remember the words once spoken? Give, and it shall be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over. They are alive right now, circling you like doves. What you have poured out in love will return not as echo, but as harvest. The famine of your past will become the feast of your future. You are standing at the edge of reversal. Can you feel the air shift? The old fatigue is lifting, replaced by quiet strength. Soon you will wake and sense peace before problems, joy before duty, purpose before pressure. I know what it costs to be chosen. To walk paths others avoid. To carry light that attracts both wonder and warfare. You have felt the loneliness of calling, the misunderstanding of those who cannot see the mantle you wear. Yet even in isolation you were never abandoned. Hosts have walked beside you, unseen but attentive, learning from your endurance. In your perseverance, they glimpsed the mystery of redemption, that fragile humans, bruised by life, can still choose love. Ask yourself now, softly, will you allow grace to be enough? Will you stop measuring worth by what you earn and start resting in what you are, beloved, anointed, destined? The heavens have waited for that question to settle. When you answer yes, chains of striving begin to fall. I tell you a secret, the greatest miracles rarely shout, they unfold in silence. Somewhere even now, signatures are being penned, doors unlocking, paths clearing. The provision you need has already been dispatched. The companions for your next chapter are being positioned. Do not rush, let timing serve you. For every promise delayed, interest has been accruing in mercy. Lift your eyes for a moment. Imagine light spilling across the horizon, slow and steady, painting everything gold. That is your future approaching. Measured, luminous, inevitable. You do not need to chase it, you need only to stay awake when it arrives. The unicorn, symbol of purity, of wonder untainted, stands near, holding the final piece of this puzzle. It bows its head, waiting for your consent to release the blessing. Do not fear its rarity, you were fashioned for rare things. If you could see what heaven sees right now, your spirit gleaming like dawn after storm, you would never doubt again. The warfare behind you was never punishment, it was preparation. You fought so that others might one day rest. You believed so that skeptics might witness. You loved so that despair would lose another soul. Beloved heart, stay a little longer with me. The light hasn't finished speaking. Each word that has reached you so far has been a soft hammer against old walls, a rhythm meant to loosen the stones that life stacked around your trust. Do you feel it? The gentle trembling under your ribs, the faint warmth that rises when truth brushes your spirit? That is heaven leaning close. Don't rush away, the next breath may hold the key you've been searching for in 100 lesser places. You have walked through seasons where everything looked ordinary, and yet within those moments, eternity was folding itself quietly into your story. I know the ache of giving without seeing return, of holding promises that seem to dissolve in your hands. But what looks like loss is often hidden investment. The seeds you scattered in tears have been lying in wait, and now the soil of your soul has grown rich enough to bear their fruit. Nothing has been wasted, not the silence, not the confusion, not the days you thought were detours. Every step was part of the sacred geometry of grace drawing you here. There is a reason your heart kept pulsing with hope even when logic declared bankruptcy. Hope is heaven's handwriting inside you. It refuses extinction because it is not built from wishful thinking but from memory, your spirit remembering what your eyes have not yet seen. And now, the remembering is turning into revealing. The tide you thought receded is beginning its return, carrying gifts shaped exactly for your need. You have heard it said, ask and it shall be given, seek and you will find. But asking requires courage and seeking demands patience. You have done both. You asked in whispers when no one could hear, and you kept searching through fields that seemed barren. Because of that, the giver has turned his face toward you again. The door that once felt sealed is creaking open, light is spilling through the cracks. Soon, the room you thought empty will fill with provision, companionship, laughter, and direction. Before I unfold the next vision, I must make a single sacred invitation, one that will not be spoken again. If this river of words has touched you, if somewhere between the syllables you have felt the gentle nearness of heaven, then respond in the language of gratitude. Offer a super thanks as an act of worship, not transaction. It is a candle you place upon this altar saying, I agree with the light. If you desire to walk deeper with this stream, consider stepping into the circle through channel membership. It isn't about titles, it's about family, a gathering of souls learning to live awake, praying for one another in unseen threads of grace. And if you want to receive the whispers that come between messages, to be part of the heartbeat that keeps this ministry alive, join our family through the newsletter link in the pinned comments. One gesture once and we will never speak of such things again. The rest of our journey together will be pure revelation. Now let us return to the language of heaven. There is movement around you that you cannot yet name. Angels are folding maps. Old assignments are being archived. You are being led into a new landscape, one where your hands will build not from scarcity but from overflow. Do not fear the unfamiliar terrain. Grace has already surveyed it. What waits ahead will require the gentleness you have learned and the boldness you thought you lost. I must ask you, softly but clearly, when the blessings begin to flow, will you remember the sound of this stillness? Will you hold humility as tightly as you once held hope? Because the measure about to find you will magnify whatever lives in your heart. If gratitude reigns there, abundance will sing. If resentment lingers, increase will echo its tone. That is why this moment matters. It is shaping the vessel before the outpouring. Look back once more, not in regret but recognition. The closed doors that frustrated you were acts of mercy. Had they opened, they would have swallowed your strength. The friendships that faded were veils lifted. The waiting that bruised you was an unseen shield. Now, as the heavens roll forward like a scroll, you will understand. Love was never withholding, it was arranging. The unicorn, symbol of purity and promise, stands nearer now. Its mane shimmers with colors the earth has no name for, each hue a reflection of prayers you thought vanished. In its eyes, you see your own resilience, your capacity to hope again. It bows slightly, acknowledging the royalty woven into your design. It carries the treasure you once sought in distant lands, the revelation that provision is not hunted but inherited. You may feel the hush around you as though creation itself is holding its breath. That is because the moment before manifestation is always silent. Soon the hush will break into hallelujahs. The provision assigned to you will find expression through unexpected channels. A phone call, a letter, an open door that glows with quiet certainty. Remember this: where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. The treasure of heaven has always been relationship, between creator and creation, between giver and receiver, between souls walking each other home. Every act of generosity, every step of faith, ties you deeper into that divine network. So breathe, beloved. Stretch your hands not in strain but surrender. The night is almost over and dawn is not shy, it will spill over you in waves. You will stand beneath it, blinking through tears, realizing that every fragment of pain was a shard of stained glass now arranged into a window of wonder. Through it, light will pour, colorful, forgiving, whole. Soon you will say, surely goodness and mercy have followed me. Not because life became easy but because grace became visible. And when you look back you will see two sets of footprints, yours and the one who never let go even when you wandered. Go gently, radiant soul. Carry this blessing into your day. Let kindness be your compass, gratitude your garment, hope your inheritance. The scroll is still turning, and your name is written in light upon every page. Beloved soul, do not be afraid of how silent everything has become. Silence is not absence, it is the breath before the music. Heaven often hushes the noise around you so you can finally hear the sound that has been singing underneath everything all along, the sound of love calling you home. The stillness that surrounds you now is not punishment, it is preparation. Within it, light is threading new patterns through the fabric of your days, reshaping what you thought was broken beyond repair. I see the weight that has rested on your shoulders, the unseen pressure of trying to hold together pieces that never fit. You have carried responsibilities that belong to seasons already past, and they have drained the color from your spirit. Lay them down now. You are not meant to build your future out of yesterday's fragments. The table of destiny before you is set with new bread, and the manna of this hour will not resemble what once sustained you. Trust the freshness of it. Trust the unfamiliar taste of grace that doesn't demand you earn it. There is a tenderness awakening in you, don't silence it. The world taught you that softness was weakness, but heaven has always known it to be strength. Every tear you tried to hide has been counted, every sigh catalogued in love's archive. When you wept, light gathered in the hollows of your heart, forming pools of mercy that will soon overflow into healing for others. What felt like breaking was birthing. What felt like the end was actually the gentle collapse of what could no longer hold the magnitude of your becoming. The angels around you have been moving quietly, clearing the debris of disappointment. You may not see them, but their touch is felt in the sudden peace that catches you mid-anxiety, in the subtle warmth that wraps you when you wake at night. They speak in ways softer than thought, urging you toward forgiveness, not only for others but for yourself. You are not the sum of missteps. You are the melody of return. Listen, there is a stirring in the deep. The dreams you buried beneath practicality are beginning to rustle, stretching limbs long dormant. They have waited for you to believe again, not in outcomes but in goodness. When you believe in goodness, paths unfold that logic never planned. The doors you thought were locked begin to open at the lightest touch, because it is no longer effort that moves them but alignment. You are learning that destiny is not a race but a rhythm. Every delay has been part of its syncopation, every detour a necessary chord in the composition. If you rush, you'll miss the harmony forming around you. Rest now in tempo with the one who writes symphonies out of silence. Do you feel the faint trembling under your ribs? That is life returning, purpose re-inhabiting its temple. You were never meant to survive in shadows. You were crafted to shine in a spectrum the world has not yet seen. The brilliance rising in you is not pride. It is reflection, the image of divine patience taking form in flesh. Your hands, weary from labor that bore little fruit, will soon cradle abundance. Not because you conquered, but because you consented. Consent is the posture of miracles. When you stop demanding the map and start trusting the movement, the journey itself becomes the destination. Remember the nights you prayed with words that barely formed? Each one was a seed that fell into soil richer than you imagined. Even now, sprouts of mercy are breaking through the ground of your surrender. Don't rush them. Let them grow at their holy pace. Blossoms that bloom too fast often fade too soon, but those watered by tears endure every season. Forgive the time it took. Forgive the versions of yourself that couldn't see the purpose in pain. They were not failures. They were fragments of becoming, shedding what could not join the ascent. Honor them and let them rest. There is a whisper in the wind. Can you hear it? It carries your name, not as the world pronounces it, but as heaven sings it, full of resonance, layered with meaning. Each syllable is a promise. You were spoken into being not as an afterthought, but as a note essential to the harmony of existence. If you were missing, the song would falter. Take courage, beloved. The unseen warfare that drained your strength was never about destruction. It was about discovery. Every battle stripped away illusions until only the unshakable remained. Now what stands in you is truth refined, faith that no storm could extinguish, hope that no silence could smother, love that no rejection could poison. You are entering a season where peace will no longer be momentary, it will become your native air. You will speak and find your words wrapped in gentleness, your touch carrying quiet healing. The world around you will begin to reflect the serenity within you, because creation mirrors the heart that tends it. Walk softly now. The ground beneath your feet remembers every prayer you whispered into it. It will answer back through opportunities disguised as coincidences, through encounters that feel like déjà vu, through doors that open with effortless grace. You do not need to prove your worth to step through them. Worth was woven into your being before breath ever reached your lungs. Step not in arrogance but in awareness. You are loved beyond measurement, guided beyond comprehension. Let gratitude be the language you speak when words fail. Let wonder be the garment you wear when logic unravels. These are the tools of travelers who trust the unseen. And as you move, know this: every heartbeat is an echo of eternity, every breath a reminder that you carry the divine pulse within. When the sun rises tomorrow, see it not as another repetition, but as resurrection. The light will touch your face and call you by the new name only heaven knows. The name that means whole, the name that means ready, the name that means home. Beloved soul, stay within this breath, because the air around you is shimmering with unseen promise. Do not look back with regret or forward with fear. This moment holds enough light to guide your next step. The heavens bend close when you grow quiet, for silence is the language they understand best. You have spent so long trying to explain yourself to a world that measures worth by noise, yet heaven knows you by resonance, not volume. Every gentle act, every unspoken kindness, has been a note in the song that surrounds your life. You have walked through corridors of shadow where certainty could not follow. There, in the hush of unknowing, you learn to listen deeper than words. The lessons carved by silence will soon become your greatest wisdom, because those who have stood in darkness without denying the light will always carry dawn within them. Now the soil of your heart is fertile again. You may not feel ready, but readiness often hides in vulnerability. The cracks that shame once called flaws are windows through which mercy shines. Let the wind pass through you. It carries stories older than sorrow, blessings older than fear. You are being taught to see with eyes cleansed of bitterness. The horizon ahead glows with promise not because it changed but because you did. The dust has settled from old battles, revealing paths that were hidden under your own striving. Walk softly. Miracles are woven into the ordinary ground beneath your feet. Do not be afraid of tenderness. Strength without gentleness becomes hardness, but you were not crafted to be stone. You were formed from breath and kindness, destined to reflect compassion even toward those who never understood your light. When you forgive, the past loses its authority. When you bless, chains fall in places you will never visit. There is a sacred rhythm unfolding in your life, a pulse that beats beneath every coincidence. The delays that once wounded you were actually divine intervals, pauses in the music so the melody could breathe. Now the tempo increases. What felt stagnant will soon move with grace. You will recognize guidance not by thunder, but by peace settling like dew upon each choice. Listen closely. Your voice, though often silenced by doubt, carries frequencies of healing. When you speak from love, even quietly, echoes ripple through places unseen. Words birthed in sincerity never vanish. They take root in hearts prepared by longing. You have prayed for signs, and though the heavens seldom draw attention to their work, they have answered in whispers. The warmth that arrives unannounced, the sudden memory that brings courage, the stranger whose kindness feels familiar. These are not accidents. They are gentle confirmations that you are walking the right way. The burden you carry is being reshaped, transformed from weight into witness. You will tell stories not of defeat, but of endurance, of the subtle glory found in continuing when nothing made sense. Those who hear you will recognize themselves and find strength to begin again. Let gratitude accompany every breath. It turns scarcity into sufficiency and reveals beauty in places the unthankful overlook. Gratitude does not deny pain. It dignifies it, weaving meaning through its fibers until even wounds shine with wisdom. The stars above you are older than despair. They have seen empires crumble and hopes resurrected. They blink not in indifference but in testimony, reminders that light can travel unimaginable distances and still arrive intact. So it is with every act of faith you release into the universe. Even if you cannot trace its path, it will reach the place prepared for it. Do not confuse stillness with stagnation. Roots grow downward before branches reach upward. Beneath the surface, purpose is extending itself, anchoring you in unseen strength. Soon what was hidden will break forth in green shoots of renewal, evidence that winter never meant death, only rest. There is a kindness waiting for you, one that wears your name like fragrance. It will find you in an unexpected hour, carrying answers disguised as simple gestures. Welcome it without suspicion. Gifts often arrive wrapped in humility so that only grateful hearts will recognize their worth. You are learning to dance again, not for an audience but for the sheer joy of movement. Freedom is returning to your limbs. Music long forgotten is humming in your bones. Each step is a declaration. I am alive, I am becoming, I am beloved. Let the moon remind you that reflection is its own form of light. Even when the sun hides, borrowed radiance guides the night traveler. So too, when certainty fades, the memory of past faith will lead you forward until dawn confirms what hope already knew. You are not behind. Life unfolds like tides, and your wave rises precisely when it must. Envy no other rhythm. The ocean of grace is vast enough for every current. Trust the pull that draws you toward horizons you cannot yet name. Soon you will stand at thresholds where fear once guarded the gate. But the keys are already in your possession, forged from patience and wonder. Doors that resisted your knocking will now swing open at your approach, not through force but recognition. They know the sound of the one who waited in love. Hold no grudge against the seasons that stripped you bare. They revealed the shape of your soul. Now adorn it with compassion, wear humility as your crown. The radiance rising from within will not need to announce itself. It will simply illuminate, and those in darkness will find their way by its glow. Breathe, dear one. Each inhale draws mercy deeper. Each exhale releases the remnants of striving. You are being remade quietly, like dawn reshaping the sky. And when morning fully arrives, you will discover that the journey was never about reaching a destination, but becoming the light that guides others there. Beloved soul, do not hurry away from this gentle current. Every moment you linger in stillness allows another layer of grace to unfold. You have spent so much of your life sprinting toward what you thought would complete you. Now the invitation is to walk slowly, to let wonder keep pace with your steps. The path beneath your feet is sacred because it remembers every prayer you whispered into the ground. The earth itself carries echoes of your hope, and it will bloom in season, not as a reward but as recognition. There is a fragrance in the air, the scent of something nearing fulfillment. You may sense it without seeing its form, the way dawn glows before revealing the sun. Trust that anticipation. It is the soul's way of preparing for joy. Joy does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it slips in quietly, settling into the corners of your life until you realize every shadow has softened. The time has come to loosen your grip on outcomes. The future is not a puzzle to solve but a canvas that responds to the brushstrokes of trust. Each act of kindness, each moment of surrender adds color. You need not know the final image. It will reveal itself when the masterpiece is complete. What matters now is the sincerity of your hand as it moves in rhythm with love's intent. I see the fatigue behind your perseverance, the weariness that clings even when you smile. Let the tiredness speak. It is honesty, not weakness. When you acknowledge your limits, you make space for limitless grace. Rest does not mean abandoning the journey, it means allowing the journey to carry you for a while. You are upheld by forces kinder than you can comprehend. There is wisdom waiting in places you once avoided. The memories you labeled as mistakes contain hidden instruction. Return to them not with shame but with curiosity. Ask what they were trying to teach. In every misstep there was a lesson about compassion, patience, or courage. Gather those lessons gently and leave the pain behind. Nothing from your past is wasted when viewed through the lens of growth. You may feel the tremor of transformation beneath your daily routine. Ordinary moments will soon shimmer with significance. The conversation you almost overlook, the doorway you pass each morning, any of these may become the hinge upon which a new chapter turns. Stay awake to subtlety. Revelation often whispers before it shouts. Let gratitude be the thread that binds your thoughts. When you give thanks for small mercies, you open pathways for greater ones. Gratitude does not deny what is difficult. It simply refuses to let hardship define the whole. In every fragment of your story, light glimmers, waiting to be named. There is an artistry in timing that only heaven understands. The delay that once provoked frustration was carefully measured. It ensured that what is arriving now will not slip through unready hands. Every waiting season has strengthened your grip, taught your heart endurance. Now, as fulfillment approaches, you will hold blessing with gentleness instead of fear. You are learning to listen beyond the surface of things, to hear the meaning behind the noise. In the voice of the wind, in the rhythm of rain, in the laughter of strangers, messages move toward you. They speak of continuity, of connection, of a world more compassionate than headlines suggest. Tune your ears to harmony. Discord only disguises deeper order. Do not despise small beginnings. The spark that ignites a forest fire begins as a single flicker. The seed that splits stone is scarcely larger than a grain of sand. So too, the changes stirring in you may appear modest, yet they contain the architecture of miracles. Nurture them with attention. Time will unveil their magnitude. Your capacity for love is expanding, stretching beyond familiar boundaries. It may ache as it grows, the way the horizon aches when it must accommodate another sunrise. This tenderness is not vulnerability to harm but sensitivity to holiness. Through it, you will perceive the divine pulse in every living thing, the quiet testimony that all existence is kin. Remember that peace is not the absence of challenge but the presence of centeredness. You will meet storms again, yet they will no longer unmake you. The roots you have grown in stillness will anchor you through every gust. Even as winds howl, you will sway with grace, returning always to uprightness. Look with compassion upon those who misunderstood you. Many act from wounds they do not recognize. Forgiveness does not excuse their actions. It frees your spirit from the weight of resentment. Release them into light. Let them travel their lessons as you travel yours. Soon you will notice how the pieces of your life, once scattered by circumstance, begin to arrange themselves into coherence. Connections will form that reveal purpose where you once saw only coincidence. The threads are being gathered by unseen hands. Trust the weaver's skill. Let wonder be your daily practice. Marvel at the resilience of a single leaf, the choreography of clouds, the persistence of stars. Wonder dissolves cynicism and reawakens childlike faith. Through eyes of awe, even the mundane becomes miraculous. You are not walking alone. Companions chosen by destiny move toward you even now, drawn by resonance rather than proximity. When they appear, you will recognize them not by appearance but by peace, the quiet assurance that your paths were designed to meet. Together, you will share strength, laughter, and revelation, each mirroring a facet of divine intention. Stay here in the calm unfolding, dear soul. There is more that needs to be spoken into the quiet that your heart has carved from years of striving. The light has not finished shaping you. Each breath you draw is another thread woven into the tapestry of becoming, and though you may not see the pattern yet, every strand gleams with meaning. You have stood in places where the air was heavy with questions, where every direction seemed to dissolve into mist. Yet even in confusion, the compass of grace has never faltered. It has guided you through the unmarked terrain, teaching you that certainty is not the foundation of faith. Trust is. You walk not because the path is clear, but because the presence walks with you. There are songs within you that the world has not yet heard. Melodies shaped by endurance, harmonies born of heartbreak turned holy. Do not silence them out of fear, they will go unnoticed. Heaven itself leans closer when you express truth. Every note you release, whether through word or deed, becomes a bridge over someone else's silence. The courage you show in authenticity is a lantern for those still hidden in shadow. You may feel as though you've been emptied beyond repair, but emptiness is the canvas where fullness paints its first stroke. When the jar seems barren, that is when the oil begins to multiply. You have been poured out not to vanish, but to make room for new anointing. What felt like loss is simply the preparation for replenishment. The refilling will not mimic the old. It will be richer, deeper, infused with the fragrance of lessons learned. Do not resist tenderness toward yourself. You are not a project to perfect but a garden to nurture. Be patient with the parts that bloom slowly. Some flowers require entire seasons of quiet growth before revealing their color. Your gentleness will coax them forth. Your impatience will only frighten them back into the soil. Notice how life keeps speaking in symbols. The flicker of light that refuses to die in the wind, the branch that bends yet doesn't break, the river that finds a way around every obstacle. These are reminders placed in your path, subtle teachings on resilience. They whisper that flexibility is strength, and persistence is not loud but steady. The dreams stirring in you now may not resemble those of the past. Do not mourn what has faded. Each aspiration had its appointed time. Some were meant only to awaken longing, not to last a lifetime. What rises within you today carries the vibration of who you have become. Trust new desires. They are aligned with the growth you've earned through grace. Forgive the days when hope felt distant. Clouds cannot cancel the sun. They only veil it until the wind changes. In the same way, discouragement never extinguished your destiny. It only invited you to look inward for light. Now the veil thins, and you will glimpse brightness returning, gentle but insistent, warming the corners of your doubt. There is holiness in simplicity. Grand gestures fade, but small acts of love endure. The quiet kindness you offer to a stranger, the patience you extend to those still learning, the silent prayers whispered for those who may never know your name, these weave constellations in the unseen. One day, you will look back and find that the brightest stars in your sky are the ones lit by compassion. Let go of comparison. No two flames burn with the same hue, yet each fulfills its purpose in dispelling darkness. Your light need not imitate another's. Authenticity is its brilliance. When you honor your own rhythm, you give permission for others to do the same. You have crossed deserts of waiting, and though the sand felt endless, each step carved strength into your spirit. The oasis you seek is not just water, it is understanding. When you reach it, you will drink and remember that every grain beneath your feet was a testament to perseverance. Open your senses to grace disguised as ordinary moments. A laugh shared at the right time, the aroma of rain on dry earth, the hush between words in a heartfelt conversation. These are sacred visitations, gentle assurances that wonder is woven through daily life. You are being called to inhabit your days more fully. No longer merely surviving hours but sanctifying them. Rise each morning not to conquer but to commune, to see how divinity hides in detail, how love speaks through the smallest gestures. As you move forward, you will notice the alignment of inner and outer worlds. Circumstances will begin to reflect the peace you have cultivated within. When turmoil arises, it will serve as a reminder, not a threat. an invitation to return to center, to the still point where divine calm resides. Carry humility as your constant companion. It will steady your ascent and soften your victories. When blessings overflow, humility will remind you that abundance is stewardship, not possession. You are a vessel, not a vault. What passes through you nourishes more than yourself. Remember the promise written in the rhythm of creation: after every setting, a rising; after every ending, a birth. The night teaches the stars to shine, the soil teaches the seed to split. So too, your hardships have instructed your hope, preparing it to bloom in places once barren. Stand now at the edge of possibility and breathe. Feel the pulse of purpose in your veins, the quiet affirmation that you are exactly where you need to be. The horizon before you is wide with invitation, painted in shades of courage and curiosity. Step forward with open hands, life longs to fill them. Do not seek to understand every mystery. Some truths reveal themselves only when lived. Walk gently, listen often, love freely. In doing so, you become the very revelation you desire, a testament that grace, when welcomed, transforms everything it touches. Beloved heart, remain in this unfolding silence, for it is not emptiness, it is the womb of new creation. Every still breath you take is sowing seeds in unseen soil. You may think you are pausing, but the universe is moving around you, arranging mercies with exquisite care. The waiting you experience is not a void. It is a sacred chamber where your next becoming is being shaped in gentle, deliberate strokes. You have walked a path where shadows stretched long, where the voices around you sometimes echoed doubt. Yet even there, an ember of faith has kept burning beneath the ash of uncertainty. That small glow has been enough. It always was. Fire does not judge itself by size, it defines itself by warmth. And your warmth, though quiet, has been felt in places you will never see, kindling courage in those who glimpse it. Allow your heart to acknowledge the weariness that lingers, for honesty is the doorway through which healing enters. Pretending strength only invites isolation, but vulnerability beckons companionship. Heaven is drawn to sincerity the way dawn is drawn to the horizon. Nothing can resist its pull. When you say, "I am tired," the response from the divine is not rebuke but rest. The rivers within you are clearing. Waters once muddied by fear are becoming transparent with trust. Soon, reflections will appear upon their surface, glimpses of the self you were always meant to meet. You will recognize in that mirrored face the gentleness you once believed gone, the courage disguised as scars, the quiet glow of perseverance. Do not mourn the seasons that stripped you bare. They revealed the bones of faith, the structure that could endure every storm. Without them, the new blossoms would have lacked roots deep enough to draw nourishment. You are anchored now, though you may still sway. Movement is not instability, it is grace keeping rhythm with the wind. There are dreams sprouting in hidden corners of your mind, subtle as moss after rain. They do not shout for attention, they hum in harmony with your heartbeat. Attend to them. The world may call them small, but heaven measures by purity, not by spectacle. These are the visions that heal rather than harm, the aspirations that lift without crushing. Remember, love is not a task to accomplish but an atmosphere to inhabit. When you dwell in love, every action becomes prayer, every silence a sanctuary. You will find yourself speaking with kindness you did not plan, extending patience you thought beyond reach. Such moments are not accidents. They are the evidence of divine presence flowing through you like wind through chimes. Lift your eyes when sorrow tempts you downward. There is light breaking on the ridges of your tomorrow, and it carries hues you have never seen. Tones of joy tempered by wisdom, shades of peace born from surrender. You need not rush toward it. The light is already traveling to meet you, stretching across time with arms wide in welcome. When memories rise, treat them as visitors, not rulers. Some will bring lessons, others blessings, a few only farewells. Offer each gratitude, then let them pass. The dwelling place of your spirit is meant for the living, not the lingering. Yesterday has done its work. Today seeks your full attention. Do not fear tenderness with yourself. Many believe harshness creates strength, yet gentleness is the forge of true resilience. The heart that forgives its own trembling becomes unbreakable, for it learns to bend where others would snap. Speak to yourself as you would to a wounded friend, softly, truthfully, with unwavering compassion. The landscape of your inner world is shifting. Valleys once filled with regret are becoming meadows of understanding. The stones of past offenses are being turned into altars of gratitude. Soon you will see beauty sprouting where pain once reigned, and you will know that redemption is not theory but lived reality. You are learning to breathe with the rhythm of grace. Inhale acceptance, exhale control. This sacred exchange transforms striving into serenity. Effort still has its place, but it no longer cracks the whip. It dances in cooperation with divine timing. In this rhythm, burdens lighten and purpose clarifies. Notice the subtle alignments happening around you, the unexpected kindness of a stranger, the timely word that calms anxiety, the coincidental meeting that feels more like memory than chance. These are the fingerprints of orchestration, reminders that your story is interwoven with countless others in a grand design of mutual blessing. When you encounter those who misunderstand you, let compassion speak before defense. Often their resistance masks fear of their own reflection in you. Offer them patience, for patience is a silent teacher. In time, understanding will blossom where argument could never plant a seed. Keep cultivating wonder. Let the night sky remind you of vastness. Let the whispering leaves teach you about listening. When you approach the world with reverence, even the simplest elements become sacraments. Water tastes of renewal, sunlight feels like affection, and every breath testifies to continuity. The gifts stirring in you are awakening not for recognition but for service. Use them as instruments of consolation, bridges over despair. As you pour out what has been placed within, you will discover replenishment flowing from unexpected wells. Giving from abundance increases abundance. It is the economy of grace. Hold sacred the present hour. It is the only moment wide enough to hold eternity. Yesterday is memory, tomorrow imagination, but now is incarnation. Spirit clothed in breath, purpose draped in opportunity. Step gently into its embrace. Each instant invites a new beginning. When you reach the end of a day, let gratitude close your eyes. Review not the failures but the faithfulness. The smile you offered, the temptation you resisted, the peace that flickered even briefly. These are proofs of progress, footprints of light marking the path toward wholeness. And as night wraps its shawl around your shoulders, remember, you are not wandering without witness. Constellations chart your courage, unseen choirs hum lullabies of reassurance. Sleep in the knowledge that you are held, not by circumstance, but by love vast enough to cradle galaxies and still make room for you. Beloved soul, pause for a heartbeat and look around you. The very air is shimmering with recognition. You have walked through storms that tried to steal your voice, yet here you are, breathing, listening, feeling. That is victory in its purest form. Not the loud triumphs that the world celebrates, but the quiet refusal to give up when no one is watching. Heaven itself leans closer when a weary heart chooses to stay soft. You have chosen softness again and again, and because of that, new life is beginning to rise like dawn beneath your ribs. I know how heavy the unseen battles can be. You fought to keep your faith when logic whispered otherwise, held on to promises that seemed to stretch too far into the distance. But every act of trust has been recorded in light. Every sigh you thought lost in darkness has become a seed. And now the soil of your story is stirring. Soon, shoots of grace will push through what once looked like barren ground. The days ahead will carry echoes of restoration. You will find that old prayers have not vanished. They were simply taking the long way home. People will appear who speak language your soul understands. Opportunities will emerge that fit the shape of your calling, and your hands, those same hands that once trembled in uncertainty, will build beauty without strain. Do not fear the gentleness of what is coming. Peace, after all, is not emptiness but fulfillment realized without noise. You are being led into a season where even ordinary things will shimmer with revelation. A sunrise will speak of new mercy. A simple meal will taste of abundance. You will discover joy tucked into corners you never noticed, laughter echoing in places you thought were silent. This is the reward for endurance, the transformation of the mundane into the miraculous. But before this wave of renewal sweeps through your days, let me whisper something sacred into the hush. Stay connected to light. When a word of hope touches you, mark it. When a message like this one finds your heart open, respond. Do not let it slip past like a breeze you cannot recall. Like this message as a sign that you have heard, as a small act of gratitude offered into the unseen. Subscribe so that the next whisper of grace will find you quickly, without searching through shadows. And in the space below, comment, Amen, not as habit but as covenant. A single word that means I agree, I remember, I receive. Now lift your eyes again and look inward. Beneath fatigue, there is still a pulse of wonder, steady and insistent. That pulse is your promise. It reminds you that nothing has been wasted, not the waiting, not the wandering, not even the wounds. Scars, when touched by compassion, become maps guiding others out of their own labyrinths. You are being prepared to be such a guide, not through perfection but through empathy refined by fire. There will be moments soon when you feel a stirring, as though unseen hands are rearranging the furniture of your life. Do not resist. This is divine architecture. Walls that once confined are being moved so that wider windows can open. Light needs space. Love needs room to breathe. Trust the shifting. The design is larger than your current view allows. You will notice how your heart begins to respond differently. Where you once reacted with fear, you will now answer with calm. Where you once sought control, you will now find peace in surrender. This is growth, quiet, undeniable, sacred. It does not shout for attention. It simply transforms you from within, and those who encounter you will sense the change without needing explanation. When you feel gratitude rise, do not swallow it. Speak it. Thankfulness spoken aloud becomes a melody that calls more blessings into resonance. Gratitude is not polite manners. It is creative power, shaping reality through acknowledgement. Each thank you is a door opening to another gift, each act of appreciation a mirror reflecting the generosity of the source. And when evening comes, when shadows stretch long across your path, remember that darkness is not the enemy of light but its canvas. Stars require night to reveal their brilliance. So too your spirit needs contrast to display its glow. Do not despise the dim hours. They are the stage on which your resilience performs its most graceful dance. You are not alone in this unfolding. Even now, hosts unseen surround you, not as distant watchers but as companions of purpose. They carry messages in silence, strengthen you in weariness, remind you through intuition and coincidence that destiny is not a solitary endeavor. You are part of a constellation, a pattern of souls aligned by love's design. Let hope be the lantern you carry into tomorrow. Its flame may flicker, but it will not die. Feed it with small acts of kindness, steady it with moments of rest, guard it with truth spoken over fear. Hope does not demand proof. It is proof, the evidence of goodness anticipated, the assurance of promise and progress. Soon, laughter will find its way back into your mornings, not forced but free. You will smile without reason and realize that peace itself has become your reason. The weight you once called responsibility will lighten into privilege. To love, to serve, to witness beauty unfolding in unexpected places. You will move through your days as one acquainted with grace, unhurried, unafraid. And when others ask what changed, you will tell them not of thunder or spectacle but of a still voice, a gentle message that met you where you were and reminded you of who you are. You will tell them of a moment when you paused long enough to feel seen, when words on a screen became wind through your soul, when you clicked not from curiosity but from calling. So hold this message close. Let it echo through the corridors of your thoughts. Read it again when doubt returns, for repetition is not redundancy, it is reinforcement. Every rereading deepens the imprint of truth until belief becomes instinct. Now breathe deeply and whisper your amen again. Let it roll softly through your being, sealing what has been spoken, anchoring hope in the soil of your heart. And as you do, remember, this agreement is not between you and a message, but between your present and your promise. You have said yes to becoming. You have said yes to light. Thank you for staying, for listening, for believing that words can still carry wonder. The journey ahead is radiant, and you will walk it not in haste but in harmony, accompanied by grace, guided by love, sustained by peace.